Everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at the brand new Mercedes W16. Yes, Mercedes has a new car and Lewis Hamilton is not at the team. This is bizarre. I've never seen this. I haven't seen this in so long. He's been at the team for so long, over a decade. That is astonishing. And now he's not at the team anymore. So we want to get a proper understanding of the new Mercedes car. I think it looks menacing, to say the least. I'm glad they've stuck with the black but added a bit more silver. Let's take a look at the new Mercedes car, shall we? So this is it. The W16 has been teased quite a bit. And if anything, just for a first impression, this car is very similar to the previous car. It's incredibly complex, but even more intricate in my opinion. And in my opinion, I will continue to say that the zero side pod discussion is not going away. F1 teams are not beating those cases that easily. I can see with my own eyes. These cars, they're taking the zero side pod concept and they're taking it more vertically, other than Mercedes took it horizontally. Take away the side pods and just look how narrow these cars are, right? Add the side pod, and there you get like, oh, okay, it's not zero side pods. But this is something that engineers are very good at. Engineers are very good at taking an issue and turning it inside out, taking an issue and looking at it from backwards instead of forward. Engineers like to invert the problem to find the solution. So when you take a zero side pod like they had on the W13, when you take these side pods into consideration, the W13 side pod was rather more horizontal. But why not go vertical? Why not go vertical? And that's what you're getting from a lot of teams. They want to get that airflow underneath the side pod while still getting the benefit of that side pod. And that's what teams are doing. Although I must admit, these are some bloody wide side pods. And they're bloody fat. So, which makes me think that Mercedes is definitely wanting to advert from some heating issues. Who knows, right? But this is what the vehicle looks like from the side. Like I said, I'm glad they've added, a little bit more silver. Not as many sponsors as I thought. What do we think about the livery? There is a lot of sponsors, but I can barely see them. I guess it's because the car is black and silver, so the sponsored stickers are mostly in white. But taking a look, there's definitely some air cutouts beneath the side pods. So again, that's an interesting take on that approach. At the rear end, you can see it's definitely some areas that they want to channel the airflow out. They definitely want to contain it in this area. It doesn't look like it's an area that will easily disperse the airflow. It looks more like they want to have some element of control of that. And I wonder, is that to add more rear end stability? Hey, if there's any, mechanical engineers or industrial designers out there or car designers out there, let me know just how far off base I am. Or am I making a tiny bit of sense, like 1%? Give me 1%. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know what you think about the new Mercedes car design. Do you think it looks menacing like I think it does? I think it's very intricate. I think it's very menacing. I definitely think they will be fighting for that championship this year. Because last year car, it wasn't like it was a terrible car, it's just that the operating window was very difficult to get in. So I think this car is very similar, almost the exact same car. It is very similar, but I think what they've tried to do is to avoid the same issues they had last year, fix a lot of those problems. So if they can take if they can take the car from last year and fix the little issues, it's a monster. That car will be a monster. Remember now, McLaren is using the same engine, and look how well the McLaren was performing. So they know that they have what it takes. It's just a matter of inverted perspective. I think that's what they've done with this car. They've inverted a lot of the problems they had on the W15 and they've published the solutions. This is the solution. And honestly, if anything, I'm like I said previously, Mercedes is taking things personal. They want to take the fight to the grid, and for good reasons. Your best driver can't just leave the team. And that's just it. No, 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 no. It doesn't work that way. They want to take the fight to Lewis and to Ferrari. And I think that's going to be insane because Lewis has been at Mercedes for quite some time. And most notably, they've won 6 championships together. No other driver has ever won 6 championships with a single constructor. No other driver has ever won 7 championships with the same engine manufacturer. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton has done that. 2 different teams, both great successes, but Mercedes is definitely the standout part of Lewis Hamilton's career. So let's see what Mercedes has to say about their new car. Team launches Mercedes F1 W16 for the 2025 season. And you know, most teams are really paying attention to the 2026 and 2027 season and beyond. The 2025 season is just a way to just close out this chapter that has been fairly miserable for Mercedes. So Toto adds, everyone at the team in Brackley and Brixworth has been hard at work over the winter. Last season was incredibly competitive on track. Whilst we took several wins, we are all focused on challenging for victories more consistent. We have made gains in off seasons, but we will only know where we stand come the first race in Australia, he continues. We have an exciting lineup to help us achieve our objectives. Both drivers have progressed through our junior program, and that is vindication of our commitment to both supporting and developing talent. George has proven that he's one of the very best drivers on the grid, capable of competing for the driver championship if we can give him a car capable of doing so. I would agree with that statement for sure, Toto. I definitely do. As the senior driver, he will help lead the team forward and support Kimi in his development. Kimi has all the necessary talents to achieve great things at the pinnacle of the sport, but this is his rookie season, and there will inevitably be ups and downs. We look forward to that journey together and helping him to develop over the course of the year. And let me just say something about Kimi Antonelli, guys. You see this kid, Kimi Antonelli. I have no doubt that he's talented. I'm sure he is definitely talented. And I think the work Mercedes is doing is admirable. With both George and Kimi, you know, I think the way it was ending with Hamilton was kind of inevitable. Younger guys come into sport, they're more hungry, they're more aggressive. Lewis can be very conservative, very careful. He's a championship winner, and he's been doing this for almost 20 years. It's a very different mindset from these young kids, and Mercedes wants what these young kids have. That fearlessness, that boldness. They might not know how to win a championship throughout the season, but they can learn over time. And Mercedes wants to invest in their future, while they look at Hamilton as Hamilton is the past. But this kid, him being Italian, something tells me that Mercedes is going to do all the hard work to invest in this kid, to really invest in this kid, to help him to achieve his best. But something tells me that all of that hard work is going to go to Ferrari when this kid, what if he's just as good as, well, I wouldn't say just as good, but what if he's capable of being as good as George, Lando, and Leclerc? What if he could join that category? Granted, I must say, Leclerc is a little bit ahead of George at the moment, but I think that's because people haven't seen George's full potential yet. I think George long term has the potential to be better than Charles, and he's probably already better than Charles, but people are not willing to give him that. There's some people that think that George is not even better than Lando, which is insane because Lando could barely do anything with the McLaren, the incredible McLaren he had. How many chances did he had to win? Imagine George in that McLaren last year. Oh my goodness. Max would have had a real problem. Put George in that McLaren last year, George would have won the championship. There it is, I said it. Put George Russell in Lando Norris McLaren, change nothing. George is winning that championship, in my personal opinion. Do you know how many opportunities? I give full credit to George because he's that good, but people won't admit it yet. But this kid, Kimi, we don't know how good he's going to be. I hope he's going to be better than Lando. And I hope he can stand on the similar level with George and Leclerc, but only time will tell. But I definitely think Ferrari is where he will go. Because when Lewis retires, they're going to look to replace Lewis with someone. Ollie Behrman, possibly. Ferrari has all the options. They get whatever driver they want because they're Ferrari. And it could be in 2 years, it could be in 5 years, it could be in 10 years, but this kid is destined at Ferrari, especially if he's as good as Toto is pretending, because Toto is treating this kid like he's the next Verstappen, and Toto don't want to lose this opportunity. And there's a problem with that, because if you think we're going to try to get the next Lewis Hamilton, we're going to try to get the next Verstappen, you're thinking about it all wrong. There's not going to be another Lewis Hamilton. There's not going to be another Verstappen. However, there can be drivers who come close to them in ability and in style of racing. For instance, I've always said that Max Verstappen is very similar in, a driving approach or racing approach to Alan Prost. Not Alan Prost, to Senna. That's right, Ayrton Senna. I think they're both crazy aggressive, great in the rain. Yeah, for some reason they seem very similar in terms of how they go about racing, or just as racing drivers. Although Senna, I must admit, was a little bit more likable, especially outside of the car. Now that's besides the point. George, on the other hand, I see George very much more like the professor, like a Schumacher. He's very analytical. He go into the tiniest details. You know, he is more like a Schumacher, and I think he does take a Schumacher approach. He's inspired by Schumacher quite a lot. This man, yes, George, he's inspired by Schumacher by quite a lot. And I think Charles is like Schumacher and Ayrton Senna put together in a strange way. But Charles is his own unique person. George is his own unique person. Verstappen is his own unique person. Hamilton has a little bit of Ayrton for sure, a little bit of Prost, a little bit of Fangio with the way he's really good with picking teams, but Hamilton has only had to do it twice in his life. I don't compare Hamilton to Schumacher very often. I think they were very different, but at the same time, both drivers excellent in the rain, excellent on race pace, excellent in qualifying, excellent in detail and technical analysis. I think they were similar but different, which is strange to say. But this kid, Kimi Antonelli, we have no idea, what to expect, to be honest. I didn't watch much of his racing career in the previous series. I watch a lot of George F2 race. I used to watch George F2 race a lot. Yeah, a big George Russell fan here. There's probably no change in that, as long as he's not as crazy as Max Verstappen. I used to be a Max Verstappen fan as well, as crazy as that is to say. But the more I saw Max's arrogance and just his blatant disregard for other drivers' safety, or just the guy just takes it too far sometimes. And he just can't handle adversity. And, he'll do the most, but he'll cry victim. I don't like that. That's the thing about Max. And George was criticizing him about this last year. Max will do the most and then play victim. And it's like, wait a minute, Max, you can't complain that people push you off. That's all you do your entire F1 career, is push people off the track in corners and shit. Yep, Kimi is Italian. You can tell by the bloody helmet. That's for damn sure. That is for damn sure. Listen, you should never go into a height competition with George Russell, because, yeah, that's as tall as an F1 driver goes. Although I think there's other F1 drivers that are similar height. Probably Pierre, probably Esteban. But I look forward to see how Kimi, advances as a driver, and how George proves that he's way better than Lando, and then he's going to prove that he might be better than Leclerc. Because I still don't know how good Leclerc is. We've seen Leclerc in the 2022 season. When he had the car at the start of the season, he was running the show. He was walking over Max. But as soon as that Ferrari could not develop any further, Red Bull kept on finding momentum and more performance out of that car. Leclerc pretty much didn't stand a chance, and he fell under pressure in France and pretty much crashed in that race. And some people do say, that's a Leclerc thing. He does mess up big time at some point during the season. And every driver is known for something. Every driver is known for something. Lewis has a slow start to the season. Max is known for not being able to handle pressure. He brake checks Lewis in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in 2021. Didn't receive any repercussions, maybe 1 or 2 penalty points, but let's be honest. Let's be bloody honest, though. That penalty they gave him in the race was nothing. It didn't affect his position. They waited until after the race finished to give him a penalty. Blatant cheating by the FIA and whoever is paying them, Max and his family, of course. Yeah, that's right. I'm not afraid to say it. But I mean, today we're trying to talk about Mercedes, but listen, remember to follow us on Twitter. Yeah, we're on Twitter these days, Remember to follow us on Twitter. But I do think Mercedes will be in the fight this year. I don't think they're gonna be. I don't think they're gonna be as bad as last year, where the car was just 4 tenths off the pace, in quali sometimes. I don't think so. I definitely don't think so. The car they had last year had great potential. I think they just fix a lot of the issues for this year's car. Same car, different interpretation, but same car. Fix a lot of the issues. And as the season continues, this car you see right here is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. I feel way more worried about Mercedes than I do about Red Bull because I feel like Red Bull is going to be there. They could cheat, they could break the cost cap. They could do whatever they want and get away with it. I just think they're going to be there. While Mercedes, I have no idea. Obviously, Lando, obviously, McLaren and Ferrari, I think they're going to be there, but Mercedes is like the dark horse, pun intended, because the car is black with a little bit of silver, of course. But they're literally, we don't know what to expect. And that's a scary thing. That is a scary thing, especially from Mercedes, because like I said, Lewis leaving them in the way Lewis did, they're going to take that personal. How about expectation? Again from Toto, he's saying it's going to be a highly competitive season. You've already said that, Toto. We saw last year just how close the field was. You couldn't say race to race who would be at front. I expect this year to be even closer. We will have to be at the very best if we want to challenge for the championship. We will have to be at our very best if we want to challenge for the championship this season. And I think this year Mercedes will be at the best it's ever been in the last 4 years, from 2022 till now. Come on, this will be the best Mercedes you can ever expect. Yeah, I think this car is going to be fast. I really do. If there's a time the Mercedes is going to be fast, it's when Lewis has left the team. As ironic as that is. And be sure, if this team is fast, if this car is fast, Lewis will not get the credit, despite the fact that, it was a lot of Lewis work that was trying to rebuild this car in 2022, 2023, dealing with porpoising in 2022, trying to collect data to better this car, getting terrible results just for the team. He looked at the team as if it is my job to repair the team and do my best for the team. And the team looked at him and said, "Yeah, but Lewis, you're not performing as well as George." And he was like, "There's something more important. We need to get back to the championship winning stage." And Mercedes is like, "Yeah, but you're still not performing as well as George." And he's like, "Well, I'm actually trying to fix the car. I'd rather find out what's wrong with it so we can fix it rather than beating George right now. We're not challenging for a championship, so it's like, what's the point?" And Mercedes like, "Yeah, we know, but we got to listen to George a little bit more, Lewis." And Lewis is like, "Wait, what the fuck? I'm doing all of this work, getting terrible results. And for what? For you to say that that's not good enough? I need to be doing what George is doing, getting P5 every fucking race?" No, I think there's a lot of internal conflict with Mercedes and Lewis, and ultimately Lewis also said, "Listen, it's not about performance why he's leaving. There's, he was hinting that, listen, he left before the new car even hit the street, even hit the track. He signed a contract, even before Mercedes revealed the new car. It's like, to him, it was like, I don't care about performance or if we're going to get back to the front anymore. I've got to leave for my own personal reason." So he knows the Mercedes is going to be competitive, whether it's this year, whether it's 2026, whether it's 2027. Lewis is well aware Mercedes will be competitive. And he's well aware that if Mercedes is competitive, they mean business. It's serious competition. So that's it for this video. I just, want to get your opinion. What do you think? Do you think this is the year where Mercedes really comes back fully? But I think they will. And I think if it's not at the start of the season, I think they will come back at some point during the season and they will be consistent with the likes of McLaren, Ferrari, and the Red Bull. And in my personal opinion, I think they're going to be challenging for win from the first race. I think Mercedes will be challenging for wins from the first race of the season in Australia. I do. I do. I've watched their trajectory. I've watched their trajectory. The last year's car was almost ready to compete. It's just that operating window. It's just fixing a few issues. They've had an entire year to work on that car and to improve it and to build a new car. I think they've fixed the issues and I think they will be winning. You know, in terms of Constructors' Championship, I think it's between Ferrari and Mercedes. I think McLaren will be there as well, but don't underestimate the Red Bull because, you know, Liam, we don't know how he'll perform. It's just going to be insanely tight. Constructors and Drivers' Championship. 2025 is the most exciting F1 season for a while. If it's like last year, 2024, but like twice as good or three times as good, yeah, we don't know who's going to win the championship. It's going to be insane. It's going to be epic. It's going to be epic. It's going to be an epic showdown. It's going to be great to watch. And regardless of who wins the championship in 2025, take away nothing from the other drivers because this championship is going to be insanely competitive. It's not just competitive, but it's the level of competition. It's Max, Lewis, Leclerc, Russell, Lando. And don't underestimate their teammates like Piastri. Don't underestimate Liam Lawson. Don't underestimate Kimi Antonelli. How quickly they will learn, how quickly they will adapt. We've already seen sparks of amazing driving ability from Oscar, especially when he's in tune with the car. Baku, Monza, the list goes on. The kid is brave. The kid is brave. So don't underestimate their teammates either. But I think this year is going to be epic. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to see more. Leave a comment. Remember to follow us on Twitter to support the channel. And I will see you in our next video, okay? Peace.